Hey friends, Stephanie here, and I'm back with more movie chatter. And as promised, what I have for you today are some movie recommendations. These are some things that I have watched recently. Most of them are newer releases. Some of them are brand new releases. So I'm going to get into talking about those. I tried to mix it up and give you a little bit of everything. But before I get into my stack, I want to talk to you about two releases that were sent to me courtesy of Paramount. So I want to thank Paramount for continuing to send me review copies and support the channel and let me share these these new releases with you. The first one, my mom is very excited about this one. These are available tomorrow. That would be Tuesday, May 2nd. So they're widely available. So anyway, my mom is really looking forward to this one. She's been bothering me about it. It is the Blu-ray and digital code of 80 for Brady. And she is very excited to watch this. I accused her of having a thing for Tom Brady. My father is fine with it. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to give this a look and then I'm going to send it to my mom. And I think we're going to have my mom on as a guest reviewer. I thought that would be a fun thing to do and she's up for it. So we'll see what happens. It stars Lily Tomlin, Jane Fonda, Rita Moreno, Sally Field, and Tom Brady. So if you're interested in this or you know someone who is, widely available tomorrow. And the other one that they sent me is also available tomorrow the 2nd. And this is a movie from 1998. Yeah, 1998. It is the 4K Blu-ray and digital for Deep Impact. It stars Robert Duvall, Tia Leone, and Morgan Freeman. So this is the cover. And I remember seeing this movie like way back in the day. And what it is there's a comet headed for Earth. It's a comet headed for Earth, and it's a disaster film. So you figure a disaster film filmed in 1998. I've heard that the 4K looks really good, and I imagine that it would. I'm really looking forward to this one. I'm looking forward to revisiting it and seeing what they've done with the the 4K transfer. So if you're into this movie, or if you're into disaster movies, it's got a great cast, and from what I remember, I really enjoyed it. So I think I'm going to watch this one tonight because these just came in. So Deep Impact, readily available tomorrow, May 2nd. So those are from Paramount, and again, thank you for continuing to support me and send out review copies. So check those out. Now we're going to get into some of the a few of the movies. I think I have 8 that I've watched recently, and this first one is from the Vinegar Syndrome partner labels. Now we all know Vinegar Syndrome is, they're popular for their horror movies, like maybe B movies, drive-in movies that they kind of they really take care of and bring back to life and breathe new life into them. And they're also, now they have partner labels. So if you haven't checked out their partner labels, they're putting out some fantastic stuff. And this was one of them that recently came out. It is a documentary called Vinyl Nation. And this is the slipcover. That's the front. You see like a record store. And the back is the turntable with the record. I love the purple and yellow theme that they went with. And then if you just go for the standard cover, you're going to get, that's what you're going to see. And then this is the extras. If you want to freeze it, check out special features, you can do that. I put this on the other night, and I am a big fan of documentaries. I know not everybody is, but this one is well worth your time. Basically what they do is they go through the history of vinyl records and vinyl record collecting and what vinyl went through, because it used to be, I remember like when I was a kid, that's all I listened to was records. I would have records all over the floor in my room, and as time went on, records kind of took a dip, and you had the the CDs come out, and then now they have streaming and all kinds of stuff. But there's a group of people, and they're mostly independent record stores now, and there's a guy that you meet the guy who came up with Record Store Day, which was just last weekend. And for Record Store Day, what they do is they get musicians to create these special edition albums just for a record store, and they're limited run, limited numbers, and they make them for the stores, and they're highly sought after by collectors. So they go out, and people, some of the record store by me, the line was almost a mile long before the store even opened for people to get in. So you learn about the guy who came up with the concept of record store. You see how the community rallied behind you know, what they love to keep it going. Kind of what we try to do on channels like this and with our community and all of us who love, you know, physical media movies. And you see how they took something that was really considered a dead platform and they brought it back. And Cinema Dave brought up an interesting point that he thinks that he remembers reading that this past year was the first time that vinyl outsold CDs for the first time in who knows how long. But this is a really good documentary, and no matter if you're a collector or you've never had it and you're just interested in records, there's really something in this for everyone. This is a very, very interesting documentary, and I enjoyed it from beginning to end. I'm a vinyl collector, not as much as movies, but you know, I love it. So if you're into it, go over to Vinegar Syndrome. I think they still have 400 something copies left with slip, and it's down to, I think, like $22. So check it out. It's well worth your time, even if you're not a documentary person. Now this next one is Living. This is a newer release that just came out in the last few weeks, and this is the cover. And this is a remake of Akira Kurosawa's movie Aikiru, which I don't know if you've seen it. It's part of the Criterion Collection. It's a pretty popular title with the collection. And basically what we have is a man here who is a workaholic. And in the very beginning of the movie, he finds out that he has an illness and he has very limited time left. And he sits down and he has to think, with this time that he has left on this earth, he wants to do something that is going to be of importance, that's going to make a mark, that's going to be fulfilling, not just sitting at his desk working all day long. He wants to do something purposeful with the time he has left. And this is such a great movie. I think it's a wonderful adaptation of Aikiru. I've always loved Aikiru. It is a little long though. Aikiru is a bit long. They shaved about, I want to say about an hour off the runtime. And it really made a difference because this is it's like to the point. You don't have the, you know, the mundane day-to-day stuff that we see over and over again in Kurosawa's movie, which is still a wonderful movie. I love them both, but I think this is really, really good, and I think it's a great refresh of a classic movie. So if you want to see something really great, check out Living. It's going to hit you in all the right spots. And this next one, this was a cool movie, and especially the times we're living in, I think it's very relevant. It doesn't take place in the United States, but it, let's see, what is it? I believe it's Korean. It's a film from Koreeda. I always say the name wrong, I'm sorry. Koreeda Hirokazu. Anyway, it's the guy that made the movie Shoplifters. And if you haven't seen Shoplifters, it was streaming on Netflix for the longest time. There are physical releases, but hopefully it's still streaming. Check out Shoplifters. It's an awesome movie with a fantastic ending. This is called Broker, and I got this over on Orbit. It's region free. It's still available on Orbit. And basically what you have is you start out and you see there's a building, and it's supposedly run by like a church, and there is a box, and in this box, women, people, whomever can go in and leave unwanted infants in this box, and they say that they will find them a home, an adoptive family. So we have this girl who goes in the beginning and she leaves the baby, but she doesn't leave him in the box. She leaves him outside under the light, and she says, "I'll be back for you. I'm not abandoning you." But she doesn't know how long she's going to be. She wants someone to take care of him. So I'm not going to get into the details. People start following her because of course this is illegal. And these are all the people. Some of them are people that take the children. Some of them, the one is the mother. So they have the people that take the baby, they take these babies, and basically what they're doing is they're either putting them in an orphanage or they're selling them to these families who, for whatever reason, can't go through traditional routes of adoption. So it's a sketchy thing, but it's hard. Their heart's in the right place. They're not bad people. They're just doing a thing that's not sanctioned. So they're doing a technically bad thing, but their heart is in the right place. But we follow them on their journey to find this little baby a home and a family that can take care of him. And that's all I'm going to tell you, but it's definitely worth the watch. It's a good movie. You're going to connect. I really connected with all the characters. There was not one that I didn't like. I thought they were all great. It's a really well done movie. And even though I mangle his name, I'm a big fan of this filmmaker. Now this next one, this is from 1998 as well. 1998 is a hot ticket right now, especially in this stack. This is an imprint release. It's with this new batch of imprint titles that's come out. It's called Return to Paradise, and it stars Vince Vaughn, Anne Heche, and Joaquin Phoenix. And here's the cover. And a lot of people, I know a lot of people love imprint, but they the price point is high. I understand that it's cost prohibitive for some things. I want to tell you that there is a Mill Creek release of this. It came out in the last year. It's a double feature. I can't remember what the other film on it is, but I wanted a standalone because I absolutely love this, and I wanted, it says it's a 1080 high definition presentation from a 4K scan. I don't know if the Mill Creek one is. I didn't look at it, but I definitely wanted to have this on when I saw Imprint put it out. Basically what you have is Vince Vaughn and Joaquin Phoenix. They are in, I believe, Malaysia. They're in Malaysia. And they're on vacation. They just kind of meet each other casually, and they're all sharing, it's a bunch of guys sharing a house, and they're smoking hash. They're on vacation, they're smoking hash. And everybody leaves to go home, and Joaquin's character is left behind, and there's still hash in the house. And he's like, don't worry about it, I'll get rid of it. Long story short, he gets caught with the hash, and he's thrown in a prison. And what they say, what the Malaysian government says and the authorities say is, if you can get one of your friends that you were on vacation with to come back and say, you know what, it wasn't all his, it was all of ours, and do a year in prison, that's all everybody will have to do. Because otherwise, Joaquin Phoenix, his character, is going to be hanged. So it's either he's going to die, or at least one of the guys that he's traveling with has to go back. So Vince Vaughn is contacted, and they say to him, you have to make a decision. Will you go back and do a year in a Malaysian prison to save this guy's life, or are you just going to go on with your life? He has a pretty good life. He's got a good job. He's happy. And he hardly knows this guy. And they're like, well, you know, you don't go back, they're going to kill him. So it's really a question. It makes you question, what would you do in that situation? This is an amazing movie. There's so many different feelings that go on, and that it brings up in the characters and in the viewer. It's a really, really good movie. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. And like I said, if you can't get the imprint one, definitely look up the Mill Creek one. It's probably available still on Amazon, and you know, you can still get the movie. And while we're on the topic of Vince Vaughn and Joaquin Phoenix in movies together, I know Kino just had a big sale, and this is a movie that I did a video on a long time ago, probably about a year and a half ago, where I said movies that need a Blu-ray release, and this was one I picked. It stars Vince Vaughn, Joaquin Phoenix, and Janine Garofalo. It's a Kino Lorber title, Clay Pigeons. And this is such a great movie, and I'm not going to get into too much about it because it's so easy to spoil this one. But you know, you have some murders going on, and there's some sketchy stuff going on, and Vince Vaughn is a new guy in town that nobody really knows, but he's trying to kind of, you know, he's a cool guy, he's trying to befriend everybody. And Joaquin Phoenix becomes friends with him. Janine Garofalo is a detective, you know, covering these murders and trying to find out who's who and what's what and who's involved and who isn't. And I'm not going to give you any details on it, but this is a really, really great movie, and it's another example of the two of them working to, you know, they work really well together. I think they have good on-screen chemistry when they're in films together, and this is one that I have liked for a really long time. So put it on your list for the next Kino sale, because you won't regret it, especially if you like, you know, like crime, thriller type of things. It's good, and it's also got a little bit of comedy, dark comedy in it, but it's a really, really good film. Now this next one is, this is a David Cronenberg film. This is one that I never hear anyone talk about. And I saw it on the Orbit website. and it stars Ralph Fiennes, Miranda Richardson, and Gabriel Byrne, and it's called Spider. And there's the cover. And Ralph Fiennes is he's just fantastic and everything. But this, trying to see when this one was from. I know I saw it years ago. I had a DVD of it. It's region free, for those of you wondering. I had a DVD of it, and I hadn't seen it in years. I couldn't find my DVD. I saw it on the site, and I scooped it right up. Basically what it is we have Ralph Fiennes plays our main character, who is a schizophrenic. He's diagnosed schizophrenic, and he moves from, I guess you'd call it a group home to group home. And he's dealing with a lot of issues that are rooted back with his family. Like it's got a Freudian flavor to it, because he was very attached to his mother, and some things happened with his mother, and then he was under the care of a stepmother who he didn't really bond with, and there's a lot going on there that I don't want to get into because I don't want to spoil it for you, but it definitely weighs on his state, and his mental condition is not helped by the stress that he feels from the loss of the relationship with his natural mother. So he's kind of mumbling, and he keeps repeating things, and he's writing things down, and he hangs these spider web type get-ups in his room, and he's just a really strange guy. But this tells such an amazing story, and this is one of those that the ending just ties it all together. And what might seem really abstract and weird in the movie makes total sense at the end. I really, really love this. And whether you're a Cronenberg fan or not, I think you're going to like this one. I think this is one of his less bizarre films. I think this is a little more relatable to pretty much anyone. But I was really happy to see this get a Blu-ray release. And like I said, it's region free, and it is still available over on Orbit. So if you want to go check that out. Spider is a good one. Oh, and it's a part of the Sony Picture Classics line, so it's probably available on Amazon now too. And then this next one, I have two left. This one is called The Outfit. I don't know. I don't know if a lot of people talked about this one. This was a sleeper. I saw this. I think the cover looks it looks generic, maybe a little bit boring, but wow, this really, really surprised me. This is a big sleeper. You have this guy here. He's a tailor. He does his thing. He runs his little shop. And what happens is somehow he's become a front. His store has become a front for mob activity. They go in, they use his back room. We don't know why. They use his back room to conduct some business, and he just kind of goes along, and he keeps his head down. He stays out of their way. He stays out of their business, and they do their thing. But I don't want to ruin it for you. All I can say is what a surprise this movie turned out to be. It is fantastic. So if you haven't seen it, don't be deterred by the bland cover, because this is really, really good. It does take a little bit to get to the part that you're like, whoa, what's going on? So be patient with it in the beginning. It might seem a little slow in the beginning, but once it finds its stride, really, really good stuff. And like I said, I really think this is the big sleeper of the last few months. But The Outfit, really, really good stuff. And I think you're going to enjoy it. If you do check it out, let me know what you thought of it. Now, this one I wanted to bring up. This came out probably a year ago. And I bought it, but I put it to the side. It's an A24 title. I put it to the side. People were just still bashing it and panning it, and it's terrible, it's boring, nothing happens. I couldn't disagree more, but I'll explain myself. This is called The Humans. It stars Richard Jenkins, Amy Schumer, Beanie Feldstein, Stephen Yoon, and June Squibb. And this is the movie. And it takes place, now I think this was labeled horror. I would not call this a horror movie. So let me just get that off the plate. I don't know if it was labeled horror. I'm not sure why. I have an idea, but I'm not sure. You have a family who is gathered for Thanksgiving, and they are in the new apartment. Beanie Feldstein and Stephen Yen, or I am not, I'm not sure how to say his name either. I'm great with names, right? Anyway, they're in their new apartment, and so they basically have nothing in the apartment. It's pretty much empty except for they have this, little table set up so that they can host Thanksgiving, and they're in New York, and they have stuff for the kitchen, and that's it. So there's a lot of echoing, and if somebody's walking around upstairs, you hear a lot of banging and things like that. So they're just getting started. The family comes over, and you can tell right away that there are issues between the family members, that there are tensions between the family members, which we all know it's not uncommon. So they're having these different conversations, and sometimes you see the father in particular, played by Richard Jenkins. You'll see him and he'll look out the window, and he's very obviously suspicious of the woman in the alley, and his daughter will say to him, "Don't worry, it's the maintenance woman, it's the landlord," or whatever. And he's like, "Oh, I'd feel better if you weren't living where you're living." He doesn't like that she is so close to where the Twin Towers were that were attacked on 9/11. So he's not happy about that. And you see that he's very, very suspicious of his surroundings. He's checking everything out. He's checking the windows, everything. And there's a lot of conversation that goes on in this. And what I have to say to you is a lot of people, I think, this is my opinion, I think they missed a lot of the conversation, because I found I needed to watch this with the subtitles, because if you miss any of the conversation, you're going to be totally out of the loop of what's going on. But you see these people, and you see that there's moments where they have real issues with each other. And then there's other times when the conversation's going fine, but then something will happen and somebody will get triggered, and then it causes a problem. And there's a lot of side conversation that goes on. And by the end, I have to tell you, the ending of this movie was an absolute gut punch. It ripped my heart out. It was just, I can't even explain to you how I felt when I saw the reaction of one of the characters and how it kind of wrapped itself up. This is such a deep, moving movie about family, about grief, about PTSD, about aging, about how we interact with each other. What do we do with emotional baggage that we're carrying from traumatic situations? There is so much going on here. You can't take it in all in one watch. And every time there's like banging and stuff going on, they're looking around. So maybe that's, what I took from the horror label, if it is on here, is that I think the horror element is more the horrors that we carry within ourselves, the emotional horrors from things that we've been through. And that's where I think the horror element comes in, because it's really more about each person and what they're bringing really to the, literally to the table when they sit down and interact with other people in their families. And there's a lot going on here, as there is with a lot of families. So I think that's where the horror element comes in. It's more symbolic of, the stuff we're carrying around, that the only way to get it out is to get it out and deal with it. And I think that's what they're trying to do here, but they don't always succeed and they don't always fail. So I would give this a high recommendation. It is not a barn burner. It is more of a character study of this family. It's not a horror movie. I gave you my explanation of it. I don't understand the hate for it. I think it's brilliantly written, brilliantly shot. It was actually a play, which you can kind of get the feeling for that. And the guy who did the play, he actually he wrote the play, wrote and directed the play, and then he rewrote and directed the same thing for the big screen. So he made it a play, and then he rewrote it to make it a movie, and he did both. And I think he did an amazing job. And I only wish I could have seen it on this, on stage, because I think it would have been amazing. And everybody's great. I mean, I'm not the biggest Amy Schumer fan, but she plays more of a straight role in this one. She's not, all about the comedy. I think she did a fantastic job. I think the whole cast did a fantastic job. So if you've been avoiding the humans because you've been hearing how bad it is, how horrible it is, just give it a chance. Even if you stream it, just give it a chance, because I think it is a really amazing look into the human psyche and our emotions, and how carrying things just affects us and everyone around us. So that's my last recommendation. So hopefully you guys found something or a few somethings out of this pile that you would enjoy checking out. If you have any suggestions, questions, whatever, you can leave them in the comments. If you did enjoy the video, please give me a thumbs up, consider subscribing, hit the bell notification so you know when I upload. If you didn't see my last video as to where I've been for the last few months, that would be the video right before this one. You can go check that out, and I explain where I've been and where we're going. But we're moving ahead, and I'll be wearing this shirt till further notice. So that's going to do it for this video, and I want to thank you for watching, and that is a wrap.